Hello, everybody. Today's August 16th. Dr. Vuong saying hello to you from a lake house Airbnb in Caddo Lake. I took a little short trip with my daughter, and this is your COVID quick update. Today's a Monday, which means the numbers for Sundays are not being really reported accurately anymore. So what I want to do is help you real quick, kind of prepare for what's going to come for as we open up the school year. As you might or might not know, I have a 15-year-old daughter who's vaccinated. She'll be a sophomore in high school. She goes to a performing visual arts school here in Houston, and she's fully vaccinated. Most of her classmates are fully vaccinated. I believe their teachers are vaccinated. So she'll go to school with an N95 mask and probably a cloth mask over that, and replace the cloth mask, every other day or so, but keep the N95 for, a couple of weeks to 3 weeks. So N95 underneath, cloth mask on top, and she'll wear that indoors. And you do that despite being fully vaccinated. And I think that will be very safe. And I also have a 5-year-old daughter who is going to start kindergarten at a new school. School's very progressive. They did a great job last year, from what I hear, about dropping off kids, social distancing, etc. And she's not vaccinated. I don't expect them to pass to approve vaccination for 5 to 11-year-olds until the end of this year, beginning of next year. But once they pass that, I wouldn't have any problems getting my 5-year-old vaccinated. What are we going to do for her? Well, everybody who's around her has been vaccinated, including myself, my partner, her mom, and immediate family members, grandmothers, etc., great grandmothers, etc. And she will go to school with a face mask. And I don't need a mandate to tell me that, right? And we don't hang out with parents who aren't vaccinated. We don't hang out with kids whose parents aren't vaccinated. And what I would do now, and I can't tell you what to do for your family, but I encourage it, is we got to go back to our pods, just like we did last year. Dr. V, I've got young kids, they're going stir crazy at home, etc. Seriously, if the adults are vaccinated, and you can pick 1 or 2 families that you trust that have similar age kids, and so that you can make a pod with 4 or 5 kids, I think you'll be okay. Now, if you're in a super hot spot, you might not want to do that for right now. But I think it's not unreasonable to do that, assuming you can trust the other families, and you have to decide. Now, the government's making that a lot easier. Like the military is mandating it, vaccinations. The VA hospital system's mandating it. Lots of companies are starting to mandate it, and cities and municipalities are starting to have proof of vaccinations. Hospital systems, believe it or not, all 3 major hospital systems in Houston have mandated it. And, rightfully so. If you look at what's happening with the numbers, Houston is a hotspot. We are at 2,000 cases. We're at highest level we've been ever in the pandemic. You might read the headline, and there's 600 patients waiting for beds in Houston hospitals. Dude, that's true. It's not a lie. It's true. It's true. Now, what people will say, naysayers will say, yeah, but Dr. V, there's 5 million people in Houston. What are it's only 600 beds. I'm like, dude, but you're not the person sitting, in that hospital waiting for a room because you broke your arm. You're the one not waiting for surgery because you got a suspicious colon mass. I mean, it's craziness. So our system, our healthcare system, it gets stretched beyond its limitations, including burnt out doctors and nurses and aides and lab techs and pharmacists and everything. Everybody's burnt out, man, and they're short staffed. So I don't know what type of world people live in where they get to say stupid math things like, oh, but that's only 600 people out of a city of 5 million people. Like, we live in the most amazing country in the world. No one should ever wait for a hospital bed or should ever wait for a cancer treatment or surgery. It's ridiculous. And the fact that you think that it's okay because you don't want to wear a mask or you don't want to get vaccinated drives me bonkers. It just shows how selfish and unreasonable and illogical and how our science classes has failed us. So I will say that I am quite surprised, even more, and I've been very aggressive in predicting my numbers. I am very surprised at the rapid spread along the East Coast of the United States. It is heading like a freight train up the Carolinas, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. New York City's at 1,900 cases. Talking about opening up Broadway again. I don't know about that. LA is 3,400 cases. Miami, Florida is 3,000 cases a day. And it's not stopping. And the funny thing is like Louisiana, Florida's been getting all the news, but Louisiana is still freaking hot, man. And it's pretty stinking crazy. So I'm wondering if it's going to take a lot longer than people think. You're going to stay hot for a lot longer. I mean, it might be a couple months. Or longer. So anyway, stay safe, everybody. Most schools are going to be opening up for in the next week or so. And we've got to do what we can to protect our kids. And I think for the parents who are in denial, I do not wish any harm on your children and your loved ones. But please understand that this is a whole different pandemic. This is not last year's pandemic. And I understand it was hard last year if you were a parent and you had to deal with 3 or 4 kids and online learning and a high schooler and elementary school kid, and you couldn't get them online. Your Wi-Fi was slow. And I get that, but it is a different disease this year. And to sit there and say, well, I'm too frustrated. I'm over this pandemic. Understand that your frustration is putting your kids in harm's way because it's a different pandemic this year. And as the parent, I'm asking you that you've got to be the reasonable adult and say, okay, if I don't want to go on, if there is not an online virtual option, then, I'm going to do the best I can to protect my kids. And that includes not gathering and protesting, at school board meetings, because those decisions have already been made. I want you to understand this. All right. Love you guys very much. August 16th. Stay safe out there.